Welcome. I bid you welcome. John Clauser, Johnny Metal, the Metal Dad, coming to you from my music corner of the world. Welcome to another edition of Album Track Ranking A through Z. And today, I don't know, this may be a letter I might hang on a little bit because I have a number of albums I probably could have worked with on this one. But if you haven't learned by going through this series with me, for those of you who have actually kept up with it, you probably will notice a lot of these albums are albums that are very deep in my DNA. I'm not going to pick just a random album or a classic album. I want it to be something that means something to me and that's been really super deep in my DNA. And when it comes to the letter S, there's probably a few that would have worked well in this for this particular case. So I may come back and I might do a couple weeks of S. We'll see. But today, of course, as I said, brought to you by the letter S. This is an album that actually celebrates a birthday next month. In April. We'll celebrate 40 years that this album has been absolutely slaughtering people. Uh, Released on Metal Blade Records. This would be the second full-length album by this band. I would come to learn of them through an EP that my buddy Mike had gotten. And when I first listened to it, I wasn't really into it. Something about it didn't wasn't catching too much with me. But I recorded I recorded it to like a blank tape and I just kept listening to it. And boy, the more I kept listening to it, the more I'm like, no, there's something special here. I'm really digging this. The album that I had, it had three live tracks, three studio tracks. And I'm sure maybe you guys have figured this out by now. That EP was called Live Undead by Slayer. So naturally, Hell Awaits is going to be what I'm going to be talking about today. I wish I could say this was the original version I bought back in high school when was really starting to get into that album. And then I saw this was out. And there is actually a really famous, well, I say famous, it's not really famous, but there's a picture of me that was taken back in early 1997. And I wish I had the hard copy of it. I had a digital version of it, but for some reason it got saved as a GIF file, and it's just like really pixelated and really looks nasty. But um, for anybody who's maybe followed my channel for a long period of time, one of the early things I did in my channel was I did like a kind of an album series where I was like talking about my faith and albums that like touched on my faith and things of that nature. And so I talked about Stripers to Hell with the Devil. And there's this picture that a buddy of mine took of me where I was holding both of these albums up. And I think a caption was like, "Yeah, which one do you think I kept?" So, uh this is still my original copy from when I bought it way back when. So if that gives you any indication. So yes, I did rebuy this, or repurchase this not too long ago on vinyl. And I still haven't listened to it yet, but I had it on CD and I did rip it into my CD. So this would be the last album that Slayer would do for Metal Blade. They had already done Show No Mercy. They did Live Undead and Haunting the Chapel EPs. Haunting the Chapel, of course, is just monumental, and those with those three tracks, four if you count the Aggressive Perfector, that's kind of got added in there on some editions. Like Chemical Warfare is a classic. Haunting the Chapel is a classic. Capture of Sin is a classic. All three of those. I think Chemical Warfare and Capture of Sin are probably I probably like those a little more than Haunting the Chapel. Haunting the Chapel is still good though. Um, I've never been a very big fan of Show No Mercy though. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a great album, but it's not one I go to. I tend to, again, I like Black Magic and Die by the Sword. Um, Antichrist sounds really good live, even maybe though today I'm not really, big on the subject matter. Um, but it's not a bad album. So don't confuse me. A lot of people think it's like their best Slayer. Me personally, I like Hell Awaits the most. And I know their monumental album Rain and Blood would come in later. And yeah, I listened to the snot out of that as well as South of Heaven and Seasons in the Abyss. But man, raw, unadulterated Slayer, you cannot get any better as far as I'm concerned than Hell Awaits. So there's only 7 tracks on this. So, and this was hard. This was another tough one. There's really only like 2 songs on this that I'm not super high on. Um, I never really knew why. I liked them, and I appreciate them, but I just have never been very big on them for whatever reason. But they're still classics. Again, all these songs are separated by eye hair, and little teeth hair or something. But so the last track for me, number 7, is actually going to be the final track, "Hardening of the Arteries," a Jeff Hanneman solo right. This one dives back. This one ends with the Hell Awaits kind of a reprise um, of the intro to the song Hell Awaits and fades out. Um, Not a bad song. It's just I don't know. Never was one of my. It felt a little clunky. Maybe the production of it felt kind of clunky, but it still wasn't a bad song. Number 6 is actually going to be titles the sixth song, the Crypts of Eternity. Um, Not a bad song. Here again, this is you have kind of a three-way right with Tom Araya, Kerry King, and Jeff Hanneman. Dave Lombardo plays drums, does not get any writing credits on any of these songs. Um, Nothing wrong with the song. It's about 6 minutes long. It's got some really cool griffs, cool grooves, cool patterns. Great song. I'm not going to complain about it. Number 5, track 5, Necrophiliac. Here again, another fast blazing song, thrasher song. Necrophiliac, yeah, if you don't know what the song, if you don't know what the word means, just go look it up on Google it and you'll get the idea. But Tom Araya does a very good job of delivering the lovely lyrics in this song. Um, okay, this is where the track listing finally breaks up a little bit. Number 4, Kill Again. That's gonna be the second track of the album. Another very thrashing song. Um, Man, this is another one that I just absolutely um try to learn and try to mimic as I was singing it along with myself. Like if I was singing doing this in the car or at home or whatever it was. But very intense song. 3, man, these top. I mean, really, the top 4 could really be interchanged easily. They're all so good though. But I can't help but yeah. Number 3, Praise of Death, the side 2 opener, track 4 on the CD. I love this song. This has some just wicked parts. Man, and they get to this one section where they have this long feedback section, and then Lombardo just goes nuts with the bass drums and the cymbals and blast beats. Always has been one of my favorites. Running and hunting and thrashing and smashing and searching and seeing, stabbing and shooting. I don't think I can remember the rest of it, but man, always loved Praise of Death. Number 3, track 3, At Dawn They Sleep, the vampire song. So many twists and turns. Such a killer track. Absolute banger. I've tried looking at the tab for this and I just tried to learn how to play this thing and my fingers just got all tongue-tied. I just couldn't figure out how to play it. Obviously, my favorite track on this album is going to be the title track, Hell Awaits. Man, again, this is where you really hear the Tom Araya fast vocal, uh, going with the fast beat and a lot of lyrics trying to speed it all up into this fast beat. And it's just Tom does a wonderful job of it. you get that creepy intro with the Signash, 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 Sign, and the welcome back, and all that great lead-off track. They would still play live till they called off, they finished doing their tours. Usually this one and I think at Dawn They Sleep are about the only two from this album that they would still kind of off and on perform. You usually didn't get to hear much of the other rest of this album, but killer album. If I was gonna rank the tracks off Rain and Blood, which would probably be the another one I could have done. I don't have a physical copy of it, so that's why I didn't choose it. But just to give you a bonus song ranking on this, I would probably go with Epidemic, Reborn. Um, let's see, probably Necrophobic, Piece by Piece. Um, oh boy, this one gets hard after this. Probably Altar of Sacrifice, uh, Jesus Saves, Criminally Insane, Postmortem, Into Raining Blood, and then Angel of Death. So there you go. There's a bonus album track ranking for you. So there you go. Slayer, Slayer, Slayer. Never got to see them live though. I major regret in my life that I never got to experience a Slayer concert live. But I kind of got off the train after about Divine Intervention. The punk album that they did wasn't bad, but it didn't connect with me because I'm not a big punk fan. So that one never really connected with me on a deeper level, and I just kind of moved on to a lot of other things. So I know talking about Slayer is going to be a little weird because I'm like, hey, aren't you that same guy that does Mortification Monday? Yeah. And again, I talk about my faith, but again, this album is still very, very much a part of my DNA. I've always loved the riffs, always loved this music. Um, may not be all on board with the lyrics anymore, but but that was, 1985 me was different from 2025 me. So there you go. Enough of that. John Clauser, Johnny Metal, the Metal Dad saying, hey, I might come back with another S band next week. So we'll see what happens. We'll talk to you soon. Rock forever, y'all. Take care, everybody.